In this video, Timmy's going to show you how you can create a new Google account on your Chromebook. You're always signed in to a Google account on your Chromebook, so creating a new account can be kind of confusing, but there are a few different ways you can create a new account on your Chromebook. Before you get started though, you need to decide where and how you're going to be using the new account. Chrome OS allows you to have multiple different user accounts where you can sign into a different user account and all the apps and files and settings and everything will be different for that separate account. And each of those user accounts is linked to a specific Google account. So if you want to create a new Google account for a completely separate thing you're doing, you might want to create a new Google account as a new user account that you can then log into and have a separate account for, so everything is completely separated from your main account. Or if you want to use the new Google account alongside your current Google account and switch between the two Google accounts all the time, you want to create a new account within your current user account so that you can be signed in to both Google accounts at the same time and just switch between either one that you want to use for each specific thing you do. Timmy would probably recommend this option for most people because it allows you to just use both the accounts whenever you need to use either one of them. And finally, you might not want to have the new account signed in on your Chromebook at all. If you want to create a new account for someone or something else, or end up signing into the new account on a different device, or if you will rarely use the new account and you just want to occasionally sign into it on your Chromebook, another option could be to completely separate it from everything else using an Incognito window. Hopefully that made sense. If you're feeling confused by all of this, you might want to just watch the entire video before you do anything so that you can get a better idea of how each option will work. But if you now know how you're going to be using your new account once it's created, you can skip to the specific steps for each option with one of the times on the screen now. So you can skip to one of those and you'll see how to create the account in that way. But to start with, we'll create a completely separate user account with a new Google account inside it. To do this, you'll need to sign out of your current user account. So you'll click on the time in the bottom right-hand corner here and click on this power button looking thing here with that menu button and come up here and click sign out. And now it'll take you back to the login screen that you would see whenever you turn your Chromebook on, but you won't sign into your current user account here. You click this add person button down the bottom here. So we'll click add person, and now assuming you want to create just a standard Google account, you'll choose for personal use here and go ahead and click next. And now is where you would normally sign into an existing Google account. So normally when you create a new user account, you would have another Google account that you want to use with this user account, and you would just sign into that Google account here. But because we want to create a new Google account, we can click this Create Account button here. And now it'll walk you through creating your account. So you need to enter the name for your account or your name. So we'll do that. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly your name. You could kind of give it whatever name you want, but you'll put a name in there and click Next. And now it'll ask you for your date of birth. So you'll go ahead and put that in, and you can fill out that if you want to, or you can choose rather not say or custom or something and go next. And now it'll give you the option to create a new Gmail address for this account. So based on the name you've entered, it'll give you two different auto-suggested options that you could use, but Timmy's not really a big fan of these because they often have weird numbers and things that you wouldn't necessarily want. So Timmy would probably click create your own Gmail address, and then you can type anything in here that will then be at gmail.com to be your email address for this account. Obviously it has to be one no one else has used, so you might need to do a few tries and get a bit creative, but you can usually pick a reasonably good one. So Timmy's going to try and go with techtimedemo@gmail.com. It might tell us in a second that that is taken, but it looks like that's perfectly fine, so we can go ahead and use that address. And now you'll need to create a password for your account. So it's important you want to save this somewhere and make a note of this somewhere or remember it so that you know what your Google account password is in the future. But you go ahead and type whatever you want your password to be. So we might just make it that, and then we'll click next to proceed. And now you can add your phone number to confirm you're not a robot. So it looks like you actually have to do this at the moment. So you'll go ahead and type in your phone number, and then you'll get a verification code. And you'll look at that code, 714996, and type that in there. And now we pretty much have the account set up. We've got a recovery number, and an email address, and a name and everything. And we'll go next. And now you'll agree to a whole lot of stuff. So you'll just scroll down and click I agree. In theory, you should probably read it all, but realistically, is anyone going to do that? And we have more stuff to accept, so we'll accept that. And now you've basically created your Google account, but there's still other things you need to do to finish setting up the user account that your Google account will be in, because we're setting up the Google account within a new user account. So it's asking if you want to sync all your data with the user account and the Google account. So that's usually good to do. It means if you sign in with this Google account on another Chromebook in the future, all of your bookmarks and settings and apps and wallpaper and everything like that will all be synced across based on your account. So you'll probably want to just click accept and continue to have it sync all of that. And now it gives you the option to create a password for the Chromebook, because you could choose use Google account password, and then whenever you log into your Chromebook into this user account, you'll type the password that you just set as your Google account password for this account. But you usually want to have your Google account password very secure and probably hard to type and remember. Whereas the password to sign into your Chromebook, you'll be typing this probably multiple times a day, every time you turn on your Chromebook. So you want this password to be something that's quite easy to type and easy to remember. And no one else can use it unless they physically have your Chromebook, so it really doesn't need to be all that secure. So Timmy would recommend you choose create password for this Chromebook and go next. And now you'll just choose whatever password you want. This can be quite short and simple. Ideally, don't make it password or anything, but make it something pretty easy that you're going to type every day. And you'll type the password again here to confirm it. And now you can go ahead and click next here. And your password is set. So we can click next again. And now you can also choose a 6-digit PIN to make it even easier to sign in. So we might do that. Or you could click skip if you don't want a PIN, but Timmy likes to use pins. So we'll do 6 digits there. And it wants to verify it. And we will verify that. And now the PIN has been added as well. So we'll go on to the next step. And now it's asking what you'll use your Chromebook for, so that it can help you with things and customize things. Timmy doesn't usually bother with this stuff. Timmy's just going to click skip. But if you are specifically going to be using it for one of these things, you could maybe choose that and it might do some cool things for you. But Timmy just skips that and moves on. And now it'll recommend some apps you can install, but you really just open the Google Play Store and install all of those later, the ones you actually want. So Timmy would probably just skip that. And you can choose some features to set up, so that you have the touchpad scrolling direction and the text and display size and light or dark theme. So you can choose any of those if you want and customize those, but you can really change all of that in the settings later, so Timmy wouldn't bother doing it in the setup process. But now you're all set. So you can click Get Started here, and it will take you into your Chromebook. So it'll give you a tour. If you're new to Chromebooks, you might click Quick Tour, but Timmy's going to click No Thanks, because if you're watching this video, you've probably been using your Chromebook for a while anyway, so you probably know how to use it reasonably well anyway. And it'll pull up this app, but we can close that. And now you're in this new separate user account for the new Google account you've created. So if you look around, your wallpaper will be different maybe, and all the apps you have installed will be different. Everything will be completely separate from your normal user account. And if you open up Google Chrome and get rid of all the messages, you'll be signed in to the new Google account we've created. So we can see up here, whenever you're on a Google website, you have your Google profile picture here. And we can see here, we're signed in to techtimedemo@gmail.com, which we just created. So now you could go to mail.google.com and access emails for this new email address. And you can just go to any other Google website in here and use your new account in here. And if you open up any other apps in here, you could go to the Play Store and install more apps. Or if you just opened up something like the Google Calendar app, for example, you'll be signed in and using your new Google account in here. Once this loads, here we go. There's all these pop-up messages you have to get through when you first log into something because it's all basically new. But we can see we're logged into this new Google account here as well. And Timmy should show you the Files app because there's something to remember in here. If you haven't watched Timmy's video that goes through all about the Files app in complete detail, you'll want to watch that video as well, maybe, so that you get a better understanding of it. But any files in the My Files section will be stored on your Chromebook. And if you had files stored on your Chromebook in the other user account, you actually won't see these here. But don't freak out, those files are still safely saved in the other user account. You'll just only see those files when you're signed into that user account. And similarly, you can add files in here now, and you'll only see these files when you're signed in to this user account. So it keeps it all separate that way. And if you go to Google Drive here, this shows you files that are on Google Drive. And in here, you'll only see files that are in the Google Drive of this new Google account we've created. So at the moment, there's no files in here. So everything is completely separate like that, and it's all using this new Google account. And then when you ever want to go back to your other user account, you can just click on the time down here and click on the power button here and click sign out here. And now it'll take you back to the account menu, the sign in screen, where you can choose which account you want to sign into. So now we can see we have Timmy Demo here, and we could enter the PIN or password there, or we could choose Tech Time with Timmy, which is Timmy's main normal account, and enter the PIN or password there. So now every time you turn on your Chromebook, you'll have the option to sign into either one of these user accounts. So if we type in the PIN and sign back into the Tech Time with Timmy account, you'll see it's gone back to the normal wallpaper, and all the apps and everything and all the files and everything will be here just like they were the way they've always been in this account. So as we can see, if we go in Chrome, we have the other Gmail address here, the other Google account. So everything will still be completely normal here because it's all separated. And Timmy has several other videos about user accounts on a Chromebook. So if you want to learn more about this, you can go and watch one of them. But if you want to create a new Google account in its own user account, that's how you can do that. But next up, another option would be to create a new Google account inside your existing user account. This will still be a completely separate Google account with a separate password and storage and email address and everything like that. But you'll be signed in to this account and your current Google account at the same time. And then you can switch between them really easily without having to sign out and have all your apps and files and everything completely different. To do this, you'll open up the Settings app. So we could go to the time and click on Settings, or we could click on the Launcher button here and scroll down until we find the Settings app here and click on it here to open up the Settings app here. And now you'll click on Accounts in this left-hand menu here. And now you'll see you have your main account. So this is the Google account that your user account is connected to, and it's the main one you'll always be using for pretty much everything in this user account. But down here, you'll see a list of other Google accounts that you're signed into at the same time in this user account. So Timmy doesn't have any right now, but to add one, we'll go ahead and click Add Google Account. So it's telling you a bit about it here, but we can just go ahead and click OK. And now this is where you would normally sign into an existing Google account, but because we want to create one, we'll click Create Account here. And now it'll walk you through creating a new Google account. So you'll enter your name, so the name you want to use for this Google account. It doesn't necessarily have to be your name, just any name you want to use. And then you go ahead and click Next. And now you'll enter your date of birth. And you can choose gender if you want to, and click Next. And now it'll give you the option to create a Gmail address. So based on the name you've typed in, it'll give you two suggested options. But Timmy's not really a fan of using these because it puts in a lot of weird numbers and stuff, and it's just not really the best. Timmy would prefer to click Create Your Own Gmail address, and then you can type whatever you want at gmail.com. And as long as no one else is already using that as their Gmail address, you can use it. So we might go Demo Tech, and hopefully that's available. That's taken, so we'll have to do something else. Try Tech Time Demo. That's also taken. Tech Time with Timmy Demo. And we can use Tech Time with Timmy Demo. So sometimes you have to make up different combinations and things like that to get one that isn't taken, but you should find a decent one eventually. And now you'll create your new Google password for this new Google account. So make sure you save this password somewhere or write it down or remember it or something, but you'll put in your password here. And you want this to be a fairly secure password, but then we'll click Next. It needs to be a stronger password. Okay, put a 3 on the end of it. And there we go. So you'll review your account. We've got the name and email address, and we'll go ahead and click Next. And now it has a whole lot of terms and conditions and things you need to put in. So you should probably read those, but Timmy's going to click I agree. And now we're in. So as we can see here, we now have this standard Google account, techtimewithtimmy@gmail.com. And this is the main account that's signed in to this user account, and it's the one Timmy was already using. But we now also have techtimewithtimmy@gmail.com, and that is also signed in inside this user account. So now, if we go out of the Settings app and we come into Google Chrome or something, Timmy will just make this a little bit bigger there. Now, if we were to go to any Google website, like google.com, we could get rid of that message. Now, if we click on your profile picture up here, we can see we're using techtimewithtimmy@gmail.com, but you can click this drop down arrow here and click on this account here. And now you'll be signed into google.com using this new Google account. And you can do that with any Google website that you want. So if we go to mail.google.com to pull up Gmail here, as we can see, we're currently in the standard Tech Time with Timmy account, but we can now click up here and click on the new account, and it'll open up this new Google account in here. And no one's ever sent an email to this Google account yet, so we don't see any emails in here. But when people start sending emails here, you'll see some emails in here. And you can go ahead and do that with any Google website you want. So that's really all there is to it. That's mostly how you use it. You just switch between accounts in the Google websites. But you can also do the same sort of thing with a lot of Google apps now. So if we click the app launcher again, and we click maybe the YouTube app and open up the YouTube app here, as we can see, we're currently in the Tech Time with Timmy account right here. But we can click on the profile picture and click on this arrow here to bring up the accounts list. And we can choose this new account. And now we could use the YouTube app in this new account. So it's all a very new account, so it doesn't really have any data in it, but you could switch to that account and start using it, and then you'd have different stuff in that account. But one thing you won't be able to do with the new account is use the Files app. If we open up the Files app here, when we go into Google Drive, this will show you any files that are on Google Drive, but it'll only do this for the main account on this user account. So it's only showing Google Drive files for techtimewithtimmy@gmail.com. And there's no way to switch this to show files for techtimewithtimmydemo@gmail.com. So if you wanted to do that, you'd have to sign your account into its own user account, but you just have to not do that. And you can still use Google Drive in this new account. If we go to drive.google.com and just go to home here, we could switch to the Tech Time with Timmy demo account, and we can access all the Google Drive files here on the Google Drive website. You just can't do it in the Files app, because the Files app can only access files for the Google account that is signed in as the user account. But now we have the final option, where you create a new account in an incognito window. When you do this, after you close the incognito window, you will no longer be signed into the account anywhere on your Chromebook. But if you just want to create a Google account for something and then move on and be done with it and keep it completely separate, it is quite a decent option. The first thing you'll need to do is open up Google Chrome here, as we've already done, and then click on the three dots in the top right-hand corner here, and come down and click New Incognito Window here. And now it'll open up this incognito window. And if you want to know more about incognito windows, Timmy has a separate video about it. But now, once we're here, you'll need to go to google.com inside the incognito window and just pull that up here. And now, as you can see here, because we're in the incognito window, you will not be signed into Google at all. So there's a sign in button. And now you can just go ahead and click sign in here. But instead of following the sign in process to sign in with an existing Google account, you'll click the create account button down here. And assuming you just want a normal Google account, you'll choose for my personal use there. And now it'll walk you through creating a new Google account. So you'll enter your name, or at least the name you want to use for this Google account. And you'll go ahead and click next. And now you'll enter your date of birth. So we'll type that in there. And you can also choose gender and click next. And now it'll give you the option to create a Gmail address, and it'll give you some possible recommendations based on the name you typed in. Timmy normally wouldn't choose these. Timmy would normally click create your own Gmail address, and then you just type in whatever you want it to be, and as long as no one else has it, it'll let you use that as your Gmail address. But in this case, Timmy actually quite likes this one as an email address, so Timmy's going to select this one and click next. Or you could click use your existing email address down here if you don't want to create a new Gmail address. But Timmy will create this address, so Timmy will go ahead and click next here. And now you'll need to create a password. So this will be the password for your Google account. So you'll want to make sure it's quite strong, and you want to make sure you remember it, or you save it somewhere, or you write it down somewhere or something. So just make sure you keep a note of this password and go ahead and click next here. And now it will give you the option to add a recovery email address. So if you ever had to reset your password or something weird ever happened on your account, Google can send you an email about it with an email address that is not this Gmail address. So you could put in one of your other Gmail addresses or a different address you have in here. So Timmy might do that. And then just go ahead and click next. If you didn't want to do that, you could click skip, but you probably should put a recovery email address in there. And now you'll need to agree to the terms of service and everything. So we'll scroll down and agree to that. And now you're done. You've now created your new Google account. So as we can see, we're back at google.com and we're now signed in to demotechtime@gmail.com. So we're in this new Google account, and we could go to Gmail or any other Google website and use that Google website in this new account. So while you're in this incognito window, you can open up new tabs and go to different Google websites and use this account as much as you want. But as soon as you click this cross icon here and close the incognito window, you will be completely signed out of this account. The account will still exist, so you can sign into it again somewhere else later. But once you close this, it's basically completely removed from your Chromebook, so it keeps everything really very separate. So you can do as much as you want here, and then just click the cross button here. And now you're completely signed out of that account, and you can only use the Google accounts that you're already signed into. Of course, if you ever decide you want to sign this account into your Chromebook, you could add it as an additional Google account inside a user account, or you could sign into it as its own user account, and you can do things like that retrospectively. Or if you've done one of the other methods and you change your mind about it, you could always sign out and sign back in with a different option whenever you want. Nothing's ever set in stone, but as you saw, you kind of have to pick one option in order to create your account, so it makes the most sense to pick the option you're going to use anyway. But that's all there is to this video, so hopefully you found it helpful to create your new Google account, and Timmy will see you in the next one.